Hello, students. Welcome back. So, in this session, I'm going to be talking about the measure of your central tendency mean, median, mode. These are the three measures, the main primary measures. So, I'll show you how you can calculate mean, median, mode of your data, okay, that you're going to obtain from a CSV file. So, by the way, I'm sure most of you have heard this word mean before. So, mean is basically the same thing as average of your data points. So, let's say you have data points 2, 4, 5, 6. Okay, these are your data points. So, the way you calculate your mean is basically take the sum of all your data, all right, and then you just add them all together. And then you divide by the total number of data points you have. In this case, I'm just taking the sum of all my data points and I'm dividing by 8 because there are total 8 data points over here. And my answer comes out to be 19.375. All right. Now let me show you how this is done using pandas and numpy and all kinds of Python packages. First thing you want to do is import your pandas as PD and my numpy as NP. And then I'm also going to use this data file. So data, this is going to be my students performance. Okay, this should be called, yeah, students performance. And just make sure that this file exists in your in the same directory that you are working in. Otherwise, you're going to get the error. Okay, so come over here and run this file, run this cell. Now come back over here. So let's try to create a sample data from our hand. Okay, instead of loading from a CSV file, let me just do it from a hand first. So this is the age of the kids. Okay, so 2, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, and 20, 120. And look at this. This is a weird number, way out of. So I have this dictionary. Okay, and I put this dictionary inside my data frame, and then I print my DF, and it prints out my data frame right there. So age of the kids, 2, 4, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, and 120. And let's calculate the mean value of this particular column. So let's bring it down, paste it. And the way you calculate mean, you just call df age kids, okay, specify the name of the column over here, and then you invoke this inbuilt method. Okay, you just call this inbuilt method. When you run this, it's going to print your 19.375. This is how I came with this number, 19.375 right there. Okay, because this data is exactly same as the one I just showed you. All right, now let's try to read a CSV file. Okay, let's do the same thing, but this time we're going to read the CSV file. Let me create a few more cells so I don't have to keep typing it again. All right. So let's read a CSV file. And my CSV file is this data file right here. Okay, this is exactly same as this one right here. All right, so let's read the CSV file. And what I'm going to do, there's a column called math score. I'm going to calculate its mean value. That's what I'm going to do. So it gives me 66.089. By the way, you can see the content of this file. I can just, uncomment this line out, and that's going to print out this data frame if you're interested. So as you can see, this is my data frame right here. Okay, this is gender, race, ethnicity, parental level of education, lunch, whether this is the lunch column, this is the test preparation course, math score, reading score, writing score, and so on and so forth. So I'm calculating the average or the mean value for this column, math scores. So my mean value for column math score came out to be, the answer was 66.089. Okay, let me comment this line out. Don't need this. Okay, now so this is your mean. Now let's talk about the median. Median actually is the middle value of your data set when the values are arranged in order. It can be either ascending or descending, doesn't matter which one, but it is always going to be the middle value. Okay, now if your data set has an odd number of values, then the median is going to be the middle number, all right? On the other hand, if your data set has an even number of values, then the median is going to be the average of the two middle numbers. So let's understand this through an example. So let's say somebody asks you, hey, find me the median of these numbers, 4, 120, 7, 5, 7, 6, 4. Well, the number one thing, first thing you want to do is arrange your data in ascending order. All right, we've done this right here. And then you find your median value. Well, if you look at this data, this actually has odd number of points. If you look over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 points right there. So your middle value is going to be 6 right there. And that, my friend, is your median value. Now let's look at another example in this case. In this case, I have this data, okay, and this one actually has odd number of data points. So in this case, first thing you want to do is arrange the data in ascending order. I did that. Then you want to find those two middle values. Now remember, the data is in there are even number of data points. So clearly there are going to be two middle values. So you take those two middle values and you find the average of that, and that's your medium right there. All right, so let's copy this, come over here, All right, so this would be my medium, right? So let me put this medium over here. So this way you will know median. Oh, look at that, where the C came from. All right, so let's run this. And there you go. You see, it actually prints out my data frame. So this is my data. I'm just creating some data first. Then I'm converting into data frame. And then I'm printing my DF. All right, this is my data frame. Now let's calculate the median of that. Now, some of you must have guessed by now, just like there is a median inbuilt function, there is a median inbuilt function. And you would be absolutely right about that. So come over here and df age kids dot median. Okay, so this is your median right here. And you call invoke this inbuilt function median, and there you go. What 5.5? Look at that. It's done. Okay, now let's try to do the same thing, but this time we read a CSV file because most of our data is going to be given to us in a CSV file. You're not going to be hard coding your numbers manually. So let's do that. So let's read a CSV file. It's the same file. I'm reading it. Okay, I'm printing my data frame. Let me not print it first. Let me run this cell first so you can see the median value. And see, it calculated the median value for the column math score. The math score I just showed you a minute ago, it showed me the median value is 66. By the way, what was my mean value? If you go on top, my mean value for math was 66.089. That's pretty close. All right, so 66.089 was my mean, and the median is 66.0. And if you really want to see the data frame again, you can just print out the data frame. And as you can see, this is the data frame for that student's performance CSV file. Gender, race, ethnicity, and all those columns over here. Okay, this is the one that I'm actually calculating the median value. Okay, let me comment this line out. Don't need this anymore. And run this cell again. Okay, now moving on to the next topic, mode now. Mode in descriptive statistics is the value that appears most frequently in the dataset. Okay, that's the keyword. It appears the most frequently in the dataset. So unlike your mean or your median, the mode tells us the most common or popular item. That's what it tells you. So, for example, you can have either one mode. Okay, you can have two mode, three mode. You can have as many mode. So a uni model will actually contain the word uni means once. It's only going to contain one mode value, one most frequent item. So in this case, your most frequent item over here is 7. Okay, just by looking at this, you can tell 7 is the common one. Well, another example would be less. Let's say you're selling shirts, and these are the size: large, large, extra large, medium, medium, large, and so on and so forth. Here, there is only one mode, large, because large is the most common occurring value over here. Let's take an example of buy model. Let's look at these numbers right here. If you can count, you will see that there will be two modes, 7 and 9. There will be two modes, 7 and 9. So mode is great when your data is categorical or discrete data. All right. Now let's calculate some mode. So come over here. Let me put mode over there. So you know this is mode. And create few cells. Paste it. So this is my data. Okay, in a format dictionary, convert into data frame. All right, and then I'm calculating my mode. And again, it's a simple formula. All you have to say df score, the name of the column, and just invoke this inbuilt method called mode. And if you run this, that's going to give you the mode 7. By the way, the reason I'm putting this like this 0 is because the mode is going to be in the form of a data frame. So if I uncomment this line out, okay, and I run this, you're going to see a data frame. This is your data frame right here. Okay, this is your data frame. So because it's a data frame, so what just want the top value, right? The element at index 0. So I just put 0 over there. So that's all it is. All right. So it calculates the mode 7 for me. So the most common occurring value over here is 7. And there it is. This is how I calculate that value 7, by the way. The one I just showed you right here. You see this one. This is exactly the same data as that. All right. By the way, you can also calculate how many values appears. Like you can calculate the value count. You can do that too in case if you want to. So you can just say df score dot value count. That's going to tell you how many times the number 7 is getting repeated. 7 is getting repeated 4 times. Number 2 is getting repeated twice. 4 is getting repeated once. 6 is getting repeated once, and so on and so forth. So let's look at the 7. It's saying it's repeating 4 times. Let's verify that. So 7, you have 1 7, 2 7, 3 7, and 4 7. Yep, you have 4 sevens right there. It's getting repeated 4 times, and it agrees with that result. Great. Okay, now what if the data is in the form of a string? Well, you can do that too. You can calculate mode for that too. It doesn't have to be just numbers. So let's say this is your data again. This is the size of your shirts, and basically this is a dictionary. I'm converting into data frame, and now I'm just calculating. Basically everything is the same as the top one. The only difference is I have changed the data. That's all. And then I print my mode. So when you run this, it's going to print your mode is going to be large, okay? Because your large is the most common occurring value. Okay, so that's your mode. All right, now what if you have what if your data has two modes? Well, let's see how that works. Well, come over here. Let's create some more cells. All right, so data is in the form. Oh, not this one. Sorry, wrong one. Come back over here again. And where was the? Yep, there it is. Control A, Control C, copy and paste. There you go. So in this case, data has two modes. Well, how do I know that? Because I create this data. This is how I know. But let's verify that. So score is 2, 2, 4, 6, 7, and so on and so forth. So this is my data in the form of dictionary, convert into data frame. All right. And then I find my mode like this, and I print my mode. And let's see what the answer is. And look at that. It tells me that there are two mode values. Okay. There is a 7 and there is a 9. Oh, this is your two mode value. All right. So now let's read a CSV file now. Okay, so instead of entering a data manually and hard coding a data like this, let's try to read a CSV file, because that's what happens in real life. You're going to get the data in a CSV file. So again, I'm reading the same CSV file, and there was a column called race ethnicity. If you go back on top, you will see there was a column. Or you know what, let me just scroll down and just uncomment that column out. There you go. Let me uncomment this line out and run this, and there you go. There's a race ethnicity right here. Okay, race, ethnicity, and you can see group B, group C, group A. So you have different types of race and ethnicity over here. And you want to know that you want to calculate the mode of the race, that is the most common occurring value. You want to calculate that. So let's do that. Let me uncomment this one out, run this, and there you go. So the most common occurring value is group C. So group C, okay, that's your mode. And by the way, you just want to know just an because remember, it gave you the data frame. You don't want the data frame. Maybe you just want the value. You just care only for the value. Just put 0 over there, run this, and there you go. It gave you the mode. So group C is the most common occurring value. Well, now you're a little bit more curious. You want to ask, hey, what is the value count? I want to know how many times group C is occurring. Well, you can find that too, and I just showed you a minute ago. You can just say df race ethnicity right there. That's your column, and just put dot value count. Run this, and that's going to tell you group C is occurring 319 times, and group B is occurring 190 times. Group A is occurring 89 times. All right, gentlemen. I hope this session helps. Thank you.